Okay, Hare Krishna. Okay. Thank you all for coming. I think I missed the last few Wednesday classes. Because somehow that was the convenient day where I could get everybody for those Wednesday programs. So somehow we have an all-time low here today. It just shows how important steadiness is to create habits in people. And that's why I think my Monday morning, my classes have been successful. Of course, I've been steady and people have been habituated to it. And once you break the habit, sometimes it takes a little difficulty. So I'm starting a new chapter. I'm not even sure. I guess it must be chapter 6. Okay, from Antya-lila. Antya-khaṇḍa of the Caitanya-bhāgavata. Jaya, jaya, Śrī Kṛṣṇa jaya, Nityānanda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya-guṇa-dhāma. Jaya Jaya Nityānanda Svarūpera. All prāṇa, all glories to Śrī Kṛṣṇa Caitanya, the reservoir of all transcendental qualities. All glories to the life and soul of Nityānanda Svarūpa. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chaksur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Caitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Śrī Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Prabhu Nityānanda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So thank the audience. This is the real core group. Our advancement in bhakti is directly commensurate with our desire to hear about Krishna. So thank you for having that desire to hear. Of course, Gaura Purnima is happening, I guess, tomorrow here. So it's quite appropriate to read Caitanya-bhāgavata. Of course, this is the introduction. And subject matters of the supreme absolute reality, they can't be approached just by the intellect alone. Because God is beyond time, God is beyond space, He's beyond cause and effect. We have a very limited frame of reference to understand reality. And even within reality, our perception is so perverted by our attachments and our knowledge, our attitude, and our level of understanding. So we use the intelligence. We have to use the intelligence. We have to use the intelligence in Krishna's service. Prabhupada said it's not like an electric revelation is like an electric shock, you know, a Shakti pot or something. God touches you, and then there's revelation. It's not exactly like that. But Krishna gives us the intelligence. It's a special type of intelligence. Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yoga tvam yenam. I give people the intelligence. And you can see if you're not given the intelligence, it's intelligence, it's reasonable, it's logical. Everything about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is reasonable, it's logical. But reason and logic won't get you there alone, because it can go in many, many directions. So there's a certain revelation, and that revelation takes mercy, and mercy requires humility. And therefore, at the beginning of any chapter, there are prayers to God, the Vaishnavas, and the spiritual master. There's always prayers. And I described how prayers work. They exalt the object of your exaltation. And by doing that, or either directly expressing it or just by the factor of prayer, it diminishes your self-conception. And the amount that you feel mercy, which is undeserved kindness, is the distance between what you value and what you feel you can pay for it. And that kind of consciousness is essential to have the perspective to feel and understand the absolute truth. So there's always these wonderful prayers at the beginning of each chapter, because attitude is so important in understanding. I give the simple example of envy. If envy affects your consciousness, and then envy is a lot of times connects icha dvesha samutena, dvandva mohena, bar the duality of desire and hate, they're connected. Because you desire to be great, you tend to hate those who are. We all experience that, maybe not to guru, maybe not to, but in our own competitive world. So attitude affects our understanding very, very deeply. So to have the proper understanding of God, the attitude has to be proper. Because it's also revelatory. This is another factor in understanding. Understanding a person is the person giving his heart to you. And that depends on your attitude. So here in the Caitanya Charitamrita, through the mercy of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj, Lord Chaitanya is going to give his heart to you. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj is going to give his heart to you. Because there is more than ink and paper. It's a manifestation of God itself. It's a person. So it will reveal the book. I wrote an article on the talking book. The book actually speaks to one. Sarvasya chaham hidi sani vishto matasmitir jnanam. I am situated in everyone's heart. For me becomes remembrance, forgetfulness, and knowledge. So this attitude must be there to understand God. Otherwise, our frame of reference will tend to diminish him both by our attitude and our intellect. So, Jaya Jaya Śrī Kṛṣṇa Caitanya-guṇa-dhāma. Dham means the abode of all qualities. That's what God means. And Lord Chaitanya is the full manifestation of the absolute truth in the mood of compassion. Patita pavana hetu tava avatar. Patita pavana. Śrī Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Prabhu Daya Kora. He's full of mercy. Patita pavana hetu. And he's come for those who are to save, pavana, to purify those who are patita. Those are very fallen. Again, even when I describe, chanting the holy name, we can't create the holy name by our effort. We can only attract the holy name by our effort. So whether it's experiencing God in chanting or experiencing God in understanding, our material tongue, our material mind, our material eyes, they're all not sufficient unless they are bolstered by an attitude of humility. If you think you're the center, you can't see who is the center. If you think you're the center, you can't see who is the center. And we know how many people who are self-centered and can't see reality. It's even a mundane psychological flat-flop. We see people who are blinded by reality. Reality is not just the what things are, it's the meaning that you ascribe to things. It's not just seeing things. It's having a true understanding of things, and there's a great difference. And if one has this kind of self-centered, what does narcissism mean? What is your lens? If you're narcissistic, you see the whole world through your own desires. And how much does that pervert? Because what are our desires? Our desires is that the world is an object for our domination and control. And it's not that. That's Maya, because it's not that. It's God's energy. So these prayers, so Guṇa-dhāma, the reservoir of all qualities. And we have to reflect on that and look in the world. And what does that mean? And how much of a limited understanding do we have that? Because once you begin with the premise of God, you begin with the premise that God is unlimited. There's nothing he cannot do. There's nothing that God cannot do. So what are his qualities? And what does it mean? Limited, unlimited qualities. So he's Guṇa-dhāma. That's a very nice definition of God. Guṇa-dhāma, the abode of all good qualities. If there is a God, why should it be anything different from that? And Jaya Jaya Nityānanda Svarūpera, the life and soul of Nityānanda Svarūpa. So another definition of a person is not just his position, but his relationships. A person is defined by his relationships. And in fact, the supremacy of a person or the goodness of a person is more defined by their relationships than by their position. What is that? Marianne Angelou, she said, I never knew the quote, but then someone here told me what her quote was that she, people better remember than for what they did is how they made others feel. And that's such a fact. I see that when Vaishnavas leave the world, the ones that are most remembered are not just their position, but their humility and their kindness and their ability to serve others. Jaya Jaya Vaikuntha Nayaka Kripa Sindhu, Jaya Jaya Nasi Chudamani Dinabandhu. All glories of Lord of Vaikuntha is an ocean of mercy. So if there's two things that define this Namo Maha Badanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gorishishe. What are the two things? Namo Maha Badanyaya. He has mercy. He is God with mercy. He is God when God wants to give himself and give his highest love. Namo Maha Badanyaya. Krishna Prema Pradayate. Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gorshi. Namaha. So two things. Namo Maha Badanyaya. He's merciful. Prema Pradayate. And he's giving. Out of that mercy, he's giving. And what is he giving? He's giving the holy name of Krishna. He's giving the holy Tara Madhye, Sarva Shreshte, Nama Sankirtan, Nama Aparade Poya, Paya, Ramadan. He's giving the best thing, which is the holy name of Krishna, which is how he manifests in a way that we can have direct communion, because he manifests in sound vibration. That's why the name is more merciful than the deities. The deities you have to go to see, the name comes to you. So it's really the mercy. And if there's anything on Lord Chaitanya's appearance day that we should pray for, is faith in the name. And the faith in the name is how good it is. And that will manifest in how much we serve the holy name by chanting. Jaya Jaya Nyasi Chudamane Dina Bandhu. And he's the crest jewel of all sannyasis. Ihayasya Harer Dasye Karmana Manasagira Nicholas Tu Avaptasu Jivan Mukta. A Jivan Mukta, a liberated soul. What's a liberated soul? Ihayasya Harer Dasya. He's the servant of Krishna. That's his attitude. Karmana with the body, Manasagira with his body, mind, and words. Our sannyas is not so much renunciation from the world for renunciation itself, but it's for our dedication, our full dedication. So he's the crest jewel he's the ocean of mercy, crest jewel of all sannyasis, and Dinabandhu, the friend of the poor, because he's Patita Pavana Hetu. He's come for us. And it's quite glorious. Sesha Kanda Kata Bhai Shuni Eka Chitte Sri Garanga Chandra Viharila Yena Mate. Oh, brothers, hear with attention the topics of Antya-khaṇḍa, where Gaurachanda's pastimes are described. Suna Eka Chitta, hear with one mind. Because perception is dependent on attention. And he's saying this is important. Be attentive. Hear properly. When you value a message, you live very carefully. Imagine if you were captured in a prison and someone said, "I'm going to give you the directions to get out," and then he begins to explain it, or she begins to explain it. How attentive you would be, because it's important. So this is the key to getting out of the material world. I was in the plane. I had a long plane ride. I left Vrindavan at 8 o'clock. My visa, my passport was at someone's house in Delhi because I needed to give an address to get my Russian visa. And to send it to Vrindavan was real risky. So I sent it to someone in Delhi. So I went there first for prasadam. I only had 45 minutes there. And then I went to the airport and then waited a couple hours. Then at 4 o'clock, I got on the plane. And then I got to Dubai at 6:30. And that was a couple of hours already because of daylight, because of the time difference. And I was 8 hours in the airport in Dubai, and then 14 hours. And then coming to America, which is now more or less like a third world country compared to Dubai and even the Indian airport. It's like chaos, like huge lines. Why don't they just hire more people? Get immigration, huge lines. Oh, why don't just hire more people? So it took forever. Basically, I left, if Indian time, I left 8 in the morning. I didn't arrive till midnight the next day. Right. But anyway, when I was sitting in the airport I forgot if it was in Delhi going to Dubai, there was a man, there was social distancing, there was a seat between us. So he started to talk to me immediately. And I was wearing pants. And a kurta, I guess my neck beads were showing. I don't know. He somehow understood I'm spiritual. If you look at me, when you never wear pants in 50 years and you put together some clothes, it's a fashion style that no one sees ever. And my buttons on my kurta, I forgot they were broken and just doesn't work. But anyway, he was talking to me and he was very, very perceptive. He understood that my grandparents were from Ukraine, at least on my mother's side. I don't know how he understood. He really was sharp, even though you could see this man had his own issues. He wasn't an integrated person the way he was talking. I mean, he functioned in the world, but he wouldn't talk of like an enlightened person. He seemed to have his own hangups, although he seemed to be a successful businessman. And then after talking to me for a while, he really revealed why. He said, I'm 60 years old and I'm scared, whatever, of dying. I'm scared of dying. I guess I can speak a little bit contemporary. Look how the world is working. It's taking away all shelters besides God. Certainly that's what's happening in Ukraine. I have 2 aspiring disciples there. One, a very nice, cultured, educated lady. She's a yoga teacher and very Krishna conscious in her own way. I mean, no hateful, but you can see. Deha patya kalitradishu atma sanyeshva satsvapi tesham pramata nidanam pashanapina pashyati. Wow. How do I remember these verses after so many years? Deha patya kalitradishu atma sanyeshva satsvapi. Deha, body, patya, the family, deha, patya, kalitrad, everything Atma Sanya, they're infallible soldiers. They're fallible soldiers. And then the verse means, even though your fathers died, and your father's fathers died, and this person, and every history, and everyone's died, we think we won't die. Pashanapi napashyati. We see, but we don't see. And God wants to make us see that what we're investing in, the extent we do have to invest in to be peaceful, but ultimately what we're investing in is for our shelter is fallible. And we all have our things. You know, I spoke to one lady in Russia yesterday, very intelligent young lady, married lady. But you can see they have that problem. I have my problem. You have your problem. Of course we have problems. Why? What are our problems? Our problems are attachments. But to satisfy them, the world has to move according to our control, but it doesn't. And therefore, if you're not the controller, you're not the enjoyer. And God is the supreme enjoyer because he's the supreme controller. He moves everything around for his happiness and the ultimate happiness of everyone else. And here in this world, he's just trying to move us from a situation which will kill us if he doesn't turn up the heat. We'll just become complacent in our temporary situations without any desire to transcend. If he didn't do anything, if he didn't have the war, if he didn't have COVID, if he didn't have this, if he didn't have that, then what would we be left with anyway? Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, Dukkha, Doshana, Darshanam. The person who is really intelligent, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Dukkha, Doshana, Darshanam. He sees that the fault in existence is Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, birth, death, disease, and old age. Birth, death, disease, and old age. So hear this with rapt attention. The people that are on the class, they're my intelligent disciples and friends. Because this is it. There's no faith, there's no trust unless there's regular hearing. And that creates faith, faith in the right goal, the right direction. Otherwise, it's bewilderment. We'll become involved in Facebook links and posts and arguments and controversies and so many things. So many things. Look around. It's happening. The world is, I'm sorry. Even if it's not falling apart, it's falling apart. As Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, in the future, we always think it'll get better, but it gets worse. So, Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Brajaham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayasyami Ma Suchaha. Surrender to Krishna. In whatever circumstances. Every circumstance is just a different way in which Krishna wants us to serve him. That's all. It's just tough. And if you make it through without any scratches and you have the easy life, and then you die. Then you die. I was reading the Bhagavatam this morning. I think I changed my schedule different times, but I used to chant practically everything before I even took bath and then something after the bath. But now I just chanted 16 rounds before and read the Bhagavatam for a half hour. And then chanting continues after that. But I read in the Bhagavatam how much Prabhupada says how important it is to try to share Krishna consciousness with the suffering of the world. Because the root cause of suffering is ignorance. We do things wrong. And therefore, there's a reaction to rectify the consciousness that did those things. And I'm looking at the list here of people listening. There's no kids here. I'm looking down the list. There's no one on this list, I think, that's under 40 years old. Maybe one person or two, but they're getting up there too. Amritera, Amrita, Śrī Kṛṣṇa Caitanya, Brahma Shiva Ye, Amrita, Vaschena Savata. The topics of Śrī Kṛṣṇa are the essence of all nectar. Such nectar is always described by personalities like Brahma and Shiva. Amritera, Amrita, Amritera. It's the essence of it's the essence of all nectar. Because what is nectar? The nectar means something that gives immense pleasure. So what's the thing that gives the most immense pleasure? It's love and love of Godhead. And what is the thing that what is the thing in this world where that love is most manifest? It's the Bhagavatam. It's these stories of Krishna which describe those love and make you feel that love. And then when you have that love, then you'll be inspired by that love. And that's the greatest nectar. Nigama kalpatara galitam phalam sukhamukha amrita dravyatam bibita bhagavatam rasam alayam bibita bhagavatam rasa bibitam. Drink it. Drink it. Drink it. Because it's an eternal reality and it can change your consciousness to desires that are eternal and not limited with the body, and therefore desires that the fruits of those desires don't end with death. Neha bikamanashosti pratyavayo navidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya chayate mahato bayat. In this thing, there's no loss or diminution. No loss or diminution. This is eternal bank account. Ata eva Śrī Caitanya-katha shravane sabara santoshaya dishtagane vane. Therefore, simply by hearing topics of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, everyone except the miscreants become pleased. Dushta, I think. What is the miscreant word? Let me see what the Sefer is. Well, they don't have the word. Kutahali, I think. No. Yeah, Dushtagan. Gun means group. All binay, Sarvara Santosh Hoy. All we become Santosh, satisfied by Ataeva Śrī Caitanya-katha shravane. Everyone will become satisfied except Dushta Gana Vina, except Dushta, the miscreants. Because, like I gave that example, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, before he was a devotee, and he was standing before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and his brother-in-law chastised me, even though the Supreme Personality of Godhead is standing before you. You cannot see him because you think of yourself as a separate and independent God. Your conception of yourself affects your conception of others. And if you have the wrong conception of yourself, you'll have the wrong conception of others. Ata eva Sri Chaitanya Katara Shavane Sabara Santoshoy. Those people will not, everyone will be satisfied, except those people who are wicked, envious, because they don't appreciate love, and therefore love doesn't touch their heart. What to speak of the highest love, Twasmin Parama Prema Rup, the highest form of love, which is to God. So, Suna Shesha Kanda Katha Caitanya Rahasya Ihara Shravane Krishna Paibe Abhasa. Here, the confidential topics of Lord Chaitanya described in the Antya-khaṇḍa. By hearing these topics, one will certainly attain Krishna, because they'll invoke in you the right desire, and we're only separated from God by our desire not to be with him. Our desire is not strong enough. When your desire is there, you are with God, because Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam Eko Bhunam Yo Vidadati Kama. And he satisfies everyone's desires. He satisfies people's desires. Yadi tino vyakta na karena apanare tabe kara shakti ache tanre janabhare. Who has the power to know him if he does not reveal himself? That's the reality, that's the science with any person. You can't know any person if they don't choose to reveal themselves. And I spoke many times why a person would reveal. Why do you reveal yourself? You have to keep very guarded, vigilant, that no harm will be done if people know who you really are. It's like if you're, in a country and you're a spy, you can't reveal who you are. You just can't reveal who you are. Daive ekadina sarva bomera sahite vasilena prabhu tane loy nibrite. By the arrangement of providence, the Lord one day sat down in a solitary place with Sarva Bhoma. Prabhu Bale Shuna Sarva Bhoma Mahasai Tamara Kohiye Ame Apana. Listen, Mahasai, let me reveal my heart to you. Jagannath Dekiteye Ailama Ame Udhesha Amara Mula Eta Ache. Although I came to see Jagannath, my main purpose here was to meet you. Jagannath Amare Ki Kahibena Kata Tume Se Amara Bandhu Chindibe Sarvata. Will Jagannath speak to me? It is you who will completely destroy my material bondage. Who is speaking? 1 second. It's Lord Chaitanya. Okay. He's going to be, I think we read this someplace, but maybe it's another chapter. Okay, for today, I'm going to end here because actually I forgot there was class. and my deity worship and other things I have to do. But if anybody would like to say, Jamuna Jaya?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for making time for class after your long travels. I really loved a number of things. I love the what you said, that every circumstance is just a different way Krishna wants us to serve him. And it just had such a personal appeal to me this weekend. I was given 2 opportunities to serve Krishna in 2 completely different ways. And at first I didn't see that. I didn't see that way B was a way to serve. But then, as you said, when I put my consciousness there, the other thing you said so beautifully, that like our consciousness affects attitude, affects how we hear. And once I put my consciousness in the right place, I said, aha, yeah, it's not the way I thought I was going to serve, but this is serving. So thank you, Maharaj.
I want to say too, my next Monday morning greetings, I need an easy one this week. Sometimes they're challenging. And because, I just came back, I'm jet lagged, and then I'm going to Colombia on Friday. I want to, do a few of my quotes. So the ones I remember best, and I need just a few more. The ones is destiny is the language of God. Rationalization is intelligence in the service of the false ego. Krishna is God with his God down. Position covers personality. So I sent you a message, maybe you didn't get it, but
I didn't get it. Oh, okay.
Yeah. If you can pick out, I only need 2 or 3 more, or maybe even 1 more. But if you can pick out about 5 that I can choose, if you think are the most common and best ones, more besides those, and send them. Okay.
Well, I think you guys will do.
Okay, do that today if you can.
Okay, we'll do.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hey, Gail. Harbo.
You have time for a quick one?
The days where I ask you for questions, you don't have. And the days where I don't have time, you have. Okay, go ahead. I'm an ocean of mercy.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that when we say that it's not just like an electric shock, Krishna gives us the intelligence by which we can come to him. That sounded to me like this thing that we always say is a combination of endeavor and mercy. So isn't that basically what it is? By the endeavor by which you use your intelligence, Krishna gives you the mercy.
Right, but he gives the mercy through your intelligence. It's not, the intelligence is not required, but he gives you the intelligence, or he purifies your intelligence. Or yeah, okay, yeah, that's right, Gail. Thank you.
But isn't that so? Then, if you say that the mercy is the intelligence, then that seems like electric shock again.
No.
So then, where's the endeavor then?
The endeavor is you're trying to understand. You just don't have all the pieces. It's kind of like this, Gail. There's like you lost your wedding ring somewhere in the city, right?
Yeah.
But then someone gives you the hint that actually you were over there and that's where it was lost. And then you search there. You still search, but without that kind of mercy of someone saying, I heard something fall, or something. Then you search in that area and find it. So it's a combination of mercy and intelligence. Okay, Gail, thank you. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Can you hear me?
I can. Haribo, nice to see you.
Yes. So happy to see you. I missed a few classes, and sometimes I went on the class, but there was no class there. I don't know. Maybe I had some misinformed.
On Sunday I was traveling.
Okay, so we are leaving Mayapur soon also, as you know.
I have all the information. Radha Charan told me.
Yes.
You have to go to Australia first.
Yes.
And then
okay.
In China, because they had such strict lockdown, they're still in fear of COVID.
Yes.
In America and India, everybody's already
it's
got
all
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Yeah. So just
Maya
that for your
their knowledge was stolen by illusion.
Yes. We're losing the shelter, as you said. The world is losing shelters. The only shelter is Krishna. Yeah. So I don't want to take too much of your time. You're leaving soon. Yeah, for your other things. Thank you so much. Beg for blessings.
Great to see you.
Yes.
Really great to see you, and good luck returning to your country. I've never seen Radha Charan so eager to go to China.
I wish everything will be okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Okay. Okay. Okay, anybody else want to say hello?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Tota Gopinath here.
Well, Tota, we'll see you this evening. Okay. Haribo. I see you there, Lal and Budget. Did you go to Jack's yesterday?
Yeah, it was very nice.
Few people
nice
there?
Turnout. Yeah, like at least about 10 people.
10 people?
Yeah, it was very nice.
Okay. Gloria, you just call me on WhatsApp right after the class. That's all. I'll just speak to Gloria. Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, I see the list of people there, so that's the most important thing. I know who were there. We had a little comeback in the class and a few more people came. That's great. Okay. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindu bheva patitanam bhavani.